Ableton have just released version 12.4 of Ableton Live Suite. The one thing I'm particularly impressed with is the stem splitting, but what I want to do today is compare the stem splitting in Ableton to basically what I think is the best stem splitter on the market, LALAL.AI. Not sure how else you pronounce it, to be honest. So what we're going to do is take my song Midnight Echo. We're going to bring that across into Ableton like that, and we're going to compare the stems in Ableton to the stems in LALAI. If we go ahead and select separate stems to new audio tracks, we have this new function called merge to single track, which is really useful. So what that is for example, just say you want the vocals and the bass and click on merge to single track. That will merge it and create a single track with the vocals and bass combined. And the other new thing in 12.4 is you can now just take a selection like that and just split those. So for example, we'll click on separate stems and we'll just split the separate stems for the selection there, and we'll click on high speed just to see how it looks. See, what it's done is placed them in a group, and it's just placed the separate stems in their own tracks for that selection. This is a new feature with 12.4. But what we want to do is do the whole song now. In order to compare it with the top of the range program like Lalal.ai, we will just do a right click, separate stems to new audio tracks, and click high quality. So this will take a bit longer because it's the entire song, but we're going to have to do the highest quality in order to do the comparison. Right, so eventually we do have our stems. So as you can see, we've got vocal, drums, bass, and the rest, and it's all grouped nice and tidily into one thing. But before we go ahead and listen to these, we want to compare them. So let's go ahead into this website, Lalal.ai, and let's do the same split and we'll check out the difference, right? So if you remember with Ableton, we did the split once and it gave me 4 stems. In this program here, you don't get all of the stems at once. You actually have to select the stem that you want. So in a way, that is a little bit worse than Ableton because you can get all the stems at once. But if we go into Ableton, we have a vocal, drum, bass, and others. So what we're going to do is do a vocal, a drum, and bass. So just these first 3, the rest of them are not going to be comparable. And that's the reason I think why LALAL is better than Ableton for stem separation. So you have so many more different instruments that you can rip out the song. But let's go ahead and do like for like comparisons. We'll start with vocal and instrumental. So we're going to click on that. So let's go ahead and select exactly the same file that we had before. And now this is converting it to the vocal file. So we'll be able to compare the vocals with Ableton Live vocal stem. So let's start with Ableton Live. So we'll just listen to the vocal. We'll just solo that out.
City in my rear view, empty on a Friday, still out of my head. Your name on the dashboard, blinking like a warning that I never read.
So let's go ahead now and compare it to the website.
City in my rear view, empty on a Friday, still out of my head. Your name on the dashboard, blinking like a warning that I never read.
So I do like that. I think that overall, this is a better quality vocal than what we had with Ableton. And the other thing you can do is when you select the stem here, you can actually go ahead and select the different settings. So for example, we can remove the echo and we can actually separate back and lead vocals into 2 stems. So there's actually a bit more functionality here, which you would expect from a specialist stem splitting website like this. I think Lalal.ai wins in terms of vocals because I think the vocal quality is slightly better. Let's go ahead and now do the bass. So once again, let's start with Ableton Live. Okay, so that's Ableton Live. Let's go ahead into Lalal.ai and listen to the bass here. Excellent. So now we're going to do the drums. So let's preview the drums first in Ableton. They don't sound too bad, actually. There's obviously a bit of resonance in the high end, but it's not too bad for a stem. Let's take a listen to this one. So I'm hearing much less artifacts on the LALA.AI drum stem separation, much less. Let's listen to the song without the drum separation. Let's listen to the song without the drums.
Your name on the dashboard, blinking like a warning that I never read. It's every word that my
Bring the drums back in.
stuck in the past. You hear me like a midnight echo, bouncing off the walls in my chest. Every time I think I finally let go.
In terms of the other things we want to do here, you've got many options. You've got acoustic guitar, electric guitar. It doesn't really apply here, but for example, we can try the strings or the synthesizer. Let's go and try the synthesizer. And in this case, we don't really have anything to compare to because with the Ableton outputs here, we've got this other file called others, which is basically everything else dumped together. So we can just take a quick listen to that if you want. So it has kind of those the artifacts from the other stems basically. It'd be interesting to hear the song without the others stems. It's going to sound very minimalistic.
Say I'm dumb, but I still type you. Delete that, rewrite, recycle. Running from it lives in my.
So without the others track, it does sound kind of cool because you're missing all of that kind of stereo information that is basically in this others track. So let's go ahead and check out the synthesizer in LALA and we'll take a listen. Okay, so it's definitely picked up the synthesizer, but it's also picked up other things like artifacts from the bass track and also some artifacts from the vocal track. So overall, I do think that this is a much better stem separator. This website is, and it has many more options. So if you're really serious about your stem separation, this is the place to go. However, I do think that what you have in Ableton is actually really useful. You can do a lot of mixing tricks by separating the stems and then putting them back in with reverb, with EQ and that sort of thing. So actually for your own productions, they might even be very useful. The fact that it's all within a DAW is also really cool. And the fact is you don't have to pay any extra for it if you have Ableton already because it's part of release 12.4. So in my opinion, if you have Ableton already and you're not that serious or that fussed about stem separation, but you do want to use it sometimes, just stick with this. If you're very serious and you really are very interested in getting the most out of your stem separation, then go here and use this website because I think this is a product that will keep getting better and developing over time. So this also does have a trial version. There is some pricing information here if you want to see what the pricing is. But as I said, there is a starter trial, so you can just try it for free basically. And it doesn't seem that expensive. So thanks a lot and happy music production, guys. All the best.